So welcome to our Main Street Master Series presented by Mainstreet SA. I'm David West, your host, and today we're talking to Danielle Hobbs from Mildura City Heart about governance of the CBD in Mildura. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you for having me, David.
Great. So can you just tell us about your journey? I mean, you have to wear a lot of hats being a CBD manager and managing CBD City Heart there. Can you tell us how you came along your journey, please?
Well, my role as a Main Street manager is certainly not where I thought my career would head when I was a 16-year-old, and I thought I was going to be a famous fashion photographer. But I ended up training as a visual arts student, and shortly after university I headed over to Europe to explore visual arts in a broader context. And while I was there, I got a phone call on one of my phone calls back in the day when you went to the pay box, the payphone box. I got a call from my mum about an opportunity to become a teacher at the TAFE in my local town, Mildura. And I thought, I was in Italy at the time, and I thought, well, Rome will be here. I'll come back later and I'll go and do this for a couple of years. And I ended up loving teaching. It was, again, not a career path I had planned, but I found teaching really valuable. It really suited who I am because it was a teaching and learning environment. I learned so much from students. I learned so much through needing to teach. It also was a very small campus here in Mildura. I started at Sunny TAFE. And then I ended up working at La Trobe University as well in the visual arts and graphic design areas, and took on a lot of different roles over that time. Like I double majored in photography and printmaking, but I taught into drawing, into art theory, art history, into graphic design, marketing. You had to really be able to be flexible to be a part of a very small team. And I think that really gave me the ability to turn my hand to pretty much anything. Mind you, you also needed to be a psychologist with students. So when I decided it was time to move on from education and I started looking around, I was looking for something that would have some kind of community engagement or project management, event management, or something like that. And I came across the ad for the role at Mildura City Heart, and I didn't even really understand what Mildura City Heart was at that point. So I called the then chair, and 45 minutes later I got off the phone. I was like, that's my job. That's my next job. I was so convinced that that was the space I really wanted to be in. I think while I had no intention of living my life out in Mildura, I had much broader horizons than my hometown. I also have a real passion and love for my hometown. I want it to be the best it can be because I want to live here. So I want it to be the sort of place I want to be. So to be a Main Street manager was to engage directly with businesses, create different projects that brought life to the CBD, work on events that were, existing events that were really big in this space, but also to create new events and promotions and just kind of, give it some vibrancy, hence my background.
Yeah, I think your ability to deal with the retailers really well, but then you're, on the other hand, as we know, you're dealing with council, you're dealing with a whole range of people, and I think you've got great listening skills and very good direction, which is a really great quality. So
I think coming from education and government, working in government, where we all know the wheels of government turn slowly, and then working with Mildura City Heart and business, where things can, where businesses can and will make things happen really quickly. It gives me an advantage to understand the process of government and bring it into that business space as well, and make sure that the expectations of both sides are fair and even and understood. So
yeah. Speaking of that, can you tell us about how the relationship with Mildura Council, how their support actually flows through to the support for the small businesses?
So the role I have used to be a council role. as it is in many Victorian councils. It sits internally, and Mildura. So the CBD had a committee, has had a committee for many, many years of traders that would meet with council or a council officer and other council officers to discuss various, needs of the business community. And so back in 2010, the local council, and in consultation with the traders that they were meeting with, decided that they were going to move the role outside of council and created Mildura City Heart Incorporated was created in the Traders Association. And we started working directly. I say we, the royal we. I wasn't there back then, but started working directly with traders and became I guess it helped make it much more streamlined process, because we were doing the work with traders, like finding out what was working, what wasn't, what the pressures were, even just about public realm and what they'd like to see in the streets, those sorts of things, and then feed that back through the association to council to make it a little bit more streamlined and possible, I think.
Yep. And I was going to say, no CBD is sort of immune to competition. And so what is your competition like up there in Mildura?
So the usual. We've got a shopping centre at the other end of town. As Mildura expanded, the shopping centre moved in, and I think the mid-80s, around about the time that Mildura CBD was developing a mall as well. And so that shopping centre is still there. It's still operating. It has sort of changed its operation processes over the last few years. There are, I think, one small business or local business left. Like, it's really just nationals. The other local business just closed down a couple of weeks ago to be replaced with a national. So it is it's like a shopping centre you would find anywhere else in Australia. So when you're going there, you know what you're getting. We also have a big box shopping area out along 15th Street. Again, large concrete set off the road, lots of parking, all that kind of thing, well air conditioned, all that sort of stuff. But I guess while naturally they're competition, they're not competition in that Mildura City Heart has a very different mix of business. There's a lot of small businesses, boutique businesses. We've got little galleries and gift shops and small business fashion houses and jewelers, all sorts of things. So it is a much different offering, and it is a main street setting. So of course we have a really vibrant dining and entertainment area as well, over the whole of City Heart, with anything from a 5 o'clock coffee to a 2 a.m. dance, if that's your thing. So yeah, it's quite, while we do have competition, it's quite different. We are seeing different kinds of competition. Like, there's a supermarket that's opened up across the river. So where Mildura sits, we're right on the Murray River, and across the bridge is Wentworth, Kumiela, Baronga, Golgol, Trentham Cliffs. Like, they're very small towns, and Mildura feeds those towns in many ways. But there is like a new shopping centre that's not a shopping centre, but a supermarket, a baker's, a pharmacist opened up over in Golgol, and it does stop people from coming into town to get those things and then incidentally buying things as they walk past the shops in town. So we consider competition, but we also understand it's part of a growing population regional on that town side of the river, who do come across when they need frocks and socks and earrings and
Yeah.
jocks.
I think it's exciting that you're developing the restaurant district, with Feast Street, the extension of Langtree Mall is going to be very exciting and will add, another area to your mix of businesses.
Absolutely. Feast Street sort of developed itself after the section of Langtree Avenue was closed off to become Langtree Mall. It kind of, you know how the market is. It just sort of developed itself and ended up with the nickname of Feast Street because a lot of the food places moved into that area. And it's just one of those self-fulfilling,
Organic.
tourists, organic tourists. Well, I mean, for locals and tourists as well. Like it's all
Yep.
kind of in one space, but it's had some pretty ad hoc additions to it over the years, and now that we've got the Langtree Mall has been redeveloped back in 2010-11. The riverfront at Mildura has gone through a massive change over the last 10 or so years and is really an incredibly vibrant space now. And when you look at the riverfront and the Langtree Mall, and then you've got this space in between them that's quite run down and
Needs a
not
lift.
neglected it needs a facelift. Its footpaths are on that crazy camber, like it's that was appropriate 100 years ago when it was built, but now we're looking at other ways of using the space and developing it so that it can be a lovely mix of retail and hospitality.
It's going to be exciting, I think. And so speaking of small retailers, can you tell us about what City Heart actually offers, the sort of services you offer over and above council services?
Mildura City Heart has the ability to offer inclusive marketing, like, a generalized broad stroke marketing on behalf of all the traders, and market the space for, to attract people to come and shop and dine and do business in the CBD. So our marketing is, you can see my background. This is our redeveloped or refreshed marketing. So we've kept the same brand mark, the lovely heart shape, but we have actually redeveloped that recently to try and make it a bit more relevant to a demographic that is certainly shopping online more these days. We wanted to make it fun and vibrant and reflective of who we think our community is. So we're able to use that broader marketing budget to cover everyone. And so when small businesses potentially don't have a large marketing budget, or your Coles or Woolworths aren't marketing specifically for Mildura, they're just generally marketing, we're able to market the whole space and attract people to the CBD.
That's great.
And we also do that with events as well. So as I mentioned before, we do have some events that have been going on for a very long time here. And then we're able to work with communities to, so for example, council don't run events. They've got a few events that they run, but they facilitate events. They don't run them. So if we weren't actively seeking community groups to bring their events to the CBD or running our own events or facilitating people to have events in the CBD, then you would potentially see not many events in this space at all. And those events bring you mentioned Feast Street already. It's a massive attractant for people to run events where we do like a road closure on a Saturday afternoon, and they, for example, Goanna Run, which is run by the Desert City Rodders, a local hot rod car club, and we close off the entire street for the night, and they have lots of people visiting from out of town, so they love the vibe of Feast Street and get bands out in the street, and traders with their marquees, and you can get a haircut or buy a new rock and roll frock or whatever, and it really helps to invigorate the street. But it also is like one of those events that's on our calendar ongoing, and we work really closely with Desert City Rodders to make that happen. We also have worked with country music festival people over the years. Yeah, there's a number of the local multicultural festival. Yeah, so it's exciting to be able to attract those. And in fact, in the multicultural event had been in multiple different locations in Mildura, and I approached them to talk to them about bringing it to City Heart and offering them the support that we can give them, that they weren't potentially getting at other locations, which makes it easier for them because they're not event managers, so we bring our expertise to that space and help them run events.
So just continuing on about your events, Danielle, I know the Show and Shine car show is amazing, and you attract something like 20,000 visitors.
Over a 4-hour period. Well, it tends to be longer than officially the event is 4 hours, but people are there very early in the morning and stick around late into the afternoon. So yeah, every Good Friday we have a show and shine. We work with the power sports. So in Mildura over the Easter weekend, there's a number of power sports events. So there's the Mildura ski race, there's the drag races, there's the Timmer Speedway, and then there's an arena cross motorbike event as well. So we work with those groups to create a show and shine. So we all come together along with many local amateur car clubs or car clubs, and have an incredibly vibrant event. You're right, we do attract I think the first year I was involved, we had like maybe about 10,000 people come. The peak year was after COVID, and we had just over 20,000 people come that year. Last year we had about 18,000 people. But importantly, the economic impact of that event, that single day event, is the largest impact across our whole year. It can
bigger than Christmas.
Yeah, bigger than the few weeks leading up to Christmas. Yeah, or equivalent, pretty much. Yeah,
yes, okay.
It's pretty big. Like, I'll give you an example of like a fashion business in the mall on any sort of Friday around Good Friday would have a budget of around $2,000. For Good Friday itself, they'd have a budget of around $12,000, and they would smash it. So you can see the quality, like the captive market. And because we get a lot of tourism, and then, they're often repeat tourists, or we also get a lot of people coming home to visit their families over that period of time. It's a very popular time to come to Mildura. You should come sometime, David. The weather is exquisite and the vibe is crazy awesome. But yeah, so the economic benefit, not just of the immediate intake on that day, but also all the people that are working that day are getting public holiday rates too. So they then spend their money back into the community as well. So it's no one else in town is open. The supermarkets are closed. We have a really a captive audience, and we make the most of it.
Oh. And other things you do include Christmas, and you do a lot of activities.
Yeah, we do a lot of activities around Christmas, and we also have a very popular promotion that we started a few years ago, which is related to our gift card, $25,000 worth of gift cards. We decided, rather than giving away one car to someone who perhaps doesn't need a car, we give away nearly 45 gift cards of various amounts over a 4-week period. And we get people asking in November, when does it start? When does it start? And it's very popular. So and it attracts sales, it attracts foot traffic, and it's become another important marker on our annual calendar of events and promotions.
That's really
good. So yeah.
I was going to say, in addition to the marketing plan that you put together, of course, you've got a really good business plan and strategic plan. And so obviously your board is focused on being very transparent and accountable, and, they show a really high quality level of governance.
Yes, they do, and it's been like that since the start of Mildura City Heart back in 2010. But you can definitely see the growth in the understanding and importance of governance for the small business the business representatives that sit on the board. Our current strategic and business plan is in like its last 3.5 months at the moment, as we're looking to move into our 4th strategic plan and business plan. I think again, because of my former role in education and having to deal with governance in a different way, but governance nonetheless, I brought a different level of knowledge to that space as well, and have really helped develop the governance for the board, and we have to remember that a lot of the board members have not really ever worked in this space. Like when they work out what governance is, it's like, oh yeah, I know that, I do that in my own business, I just don't call it that. So it's really great for them to kind of put names to things and develop their own governance within their own business, and then be able to talk to their business neighbours, their neighbourhood traders about the sorts of things that they do on the Mildura City Heart board, and even succession planning or participating in activities or marketing that we do, those sorts of things.
I was going to say, one of the elements you have too, I really like, is you get the retailers off to a good start with a welcome pack. Can you just tell us what's in your welcome pack, please?
A letter that says, "Hi, thank you so much for coming to Mildura City Heart. We value your investment in adding to the vibrant community that is Mildura City Heart Village." And then we just give them an outline of who Mildura City Heart is. So who Mildura City Heart Incorporated is, who the board are, who the management and staff are, how you can contact us, the sorts of things that we do. So we list all of our marketing, events, advertising, projects, whatever else I can't off the top of my head, all the good things. We list all the good things, and then we give them we ask for all of their contact information, their logos, etc., so that we can add them to our website directory. And then we also add them to our collateral list. So we go and take photographs and get some copy from them, so that we can use that in our social media platforms, and then also in our documents as we create like our annual report or our expression of interest to become a board member, or whatever the documents we've got going on.
I was going to say, one of the angles you've got with your marketing is your gift card, which I think is amazing, because the success you've achieved there has been really significant. And I think the good thing about it is it brings the market share of Mildura to the City Heart. Can you just tell us how it works, please?
So when Mildura City, so we've had the gift card since 2010. Back in the beginning, it was just like a handwritten paper voucher, and then a few years after that, the board and management looked into getting an actual physical gift card. So it's a closed loop system, like an FPOS closed loop system, and it's been we've had it for nearly 10 years now, I think, and it's fantastic. I mean, the main purpose of it is to capture spend. So where Granny might give grandchild $30 for their birthday, that $30 could go anywhere. It could go online, it could go out to Centro, it could go out of town, out of state. But if often Granny doesn't want to just give grandchild $30 because it feels insincere, or they're not sure what they're going to spend it on, and comes and buys a gift card instead, then they know that there's 200 stores in the CBD that card can be used at. The importance to the board for having a Mildura City Heart gift card is that it captures the discretionary spend of the community. So for example, Back in 2018, when I started, we captured $172,000-ish of gift cards. In the last financial year, we captured $463,000 plus of gift cards back into the precinct. And that's like a 265% increase over when I first started to our recent calculation. I also did a quick calculation yesterday to up till February for this financial year. And if we only sell what we did the same months last year, and it's trending that we're already selling more each month than we did in the previous year, that we will hit over $500,000 in captured income back into the CBD.
And how many businesses are involved in that?
We say 200. It like kind of oscillates a little low, below 200 and a little above 200, but it's really broad. It's everything. I think people are very sometimes quite shocked at how many businesses are involved. They think that it's just the mall, but of course Mildura City Heart is 9 city blocks, and you can get your tyres changed with it. You can go and buy some new work boots. You can go to the cinema. You can have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. There's so many businesses that you can use it with, and I think that's a massive seller. Also, particularly for men, like women who don't know what to get their husbands, and so but no one needs a new suit, or might want to go to the bookshop or take her out for dinner. So it's really popular because of the broad use that it has.
Excellent. So so we thank Danielle so much, and please look up Danielle's website, the milduracityheart.com.au website, and have a look at some of the activities they're doing and some of the details of the work that Danielle does, which is amazing. So thank you so much for your time, Danielle, being part of our Main Street Masters series for Mainstreet SA. It's been great having you on board, and we will catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, David.